I'll never forget working with Craig Carton probably in 2009, 2010. He had this cockamamie idea where every pitcher on the staff would pitch one inning every game.
Well, we're getting close to that.
We're getting close to that is right. And that's frustrating. But the other frustrating part of it is they held them to 4 runs, which in today's baseball is nothing. And especially when you have guys like Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and Juan Soto in your lineup. Those guys should be able to generate a lot of runs. So now the narrative is going to be, where is Judge and where is Soto? I mean, that's basically what it's going to come down to. And I don't know how many times we heard this, and it is a true statement that for the Yankees, it always comes down to October. This is where it matters the most. This is where the expectations lie. And this is where if the players don't live up to the Derek Jeter-esque type of captaincy and leadership and championships, then the so-called legacy that a player leaves behind is going to be tainted unless they have an October to remember.
Yeah, and Aaron Judge is the perfect player. He's a great Yankee. There's nothing negative you could say about him. But when you are the captain of the Yankees and you're a Monument Park guy and he is headed in that direction, you cannot have these postseasons. And I don't think the fan base has it completely turned on him. They shouldn't turn on him. They're definitely concerned, but it just doesn't make any sense that this happens every single year. I mean, this guy, you can't get him out for 6 months until you get to number 10 on the calendar, and then you can get him out.
I don't know if I'm sensing this right. I mean, he's 1 for 7 in this 2 games thus far. It's early.
Yeah.
I don't know if I sense this right. Do I sense a little tightness on his part?
Tight?
You were at the game, game 1.
I was.
And they had ample opportunity. He had ample opportunity to break the game open.
Sure.
And it didn't happen.
Nope.
Was there an uneasy feeling in the stadium? Did you get that from your Yankee fan friends that you were sitting with?
Yeah, I mean, and I mentioned that yesterday, that there was no doubt it was a negative feel. It was I think the same stuff's going to happen. If he doesn't get up there and smash the ball, everybody now, it's funny because it's the first time I was ever around Yankee fans. It reminded me of Mets and Jets fans, where they had enough.
Oh, my God, that could be.
No, but honestly.
Are you trying to insult Yankee
fans?
No,
I'm not trying to insult Yankee fans at all. What I'm saying is that I understand they won a championship in 2009. But since then, they've had many postseasons, especially in recent memory, where the same script has happened. So Met fans and Jets fans are always talking about, it's the Mets, it's the Jets, they'll find a way to screw it up. So this was the first time ever that I didn't feel the confidence from the Yankee fan that they were the Yankees. And it was like the same thing is about to happen again. They can't hit in the postseason. So, yes, I did feel that.
All right, so there is a feeling of uneasiness around this whole thing right now, which just is going to manifest itself in so many different ways if they don't get off the schneid.
Well, I was thinking about you talking about Deshaun Watson doesn't like playing at home.
Yes.
I think there's something to be said about the Yankees getting away from Yankee Stadium and going to Kansas City and not having that nervous energy there, and maybe that gets them in the right frame of mind. I don't know. But Seth Lugo is going to be pitching in Game 3, and that guy has put together an unbelievable season. So when you're scuffling at the plate, the last thing you want to see is a guy like Seth Lugo who had the year that he had. So, I mean, this would be, and I'm not ready to go there yet, but if they lose to the Kansas City Royals, then everything has to be on the table as far as changing the organization, which they haven't done. They've stayed steadfast. They've had that continuity that you talked about. But if they somehow come up short in this situation, I mean, it has to change. But I'm not ready to say that yet. I still think they're going to win this series. I think they're going to be okay. Every single one of these series is 1-1. And there's other great teams. The Dodgers, the Phillies, the Mets are hot. Everybody's lost the game. So it's okay.
They Guardians got shut out yesterday.
Well, the Guardians, they had Clase on the mound, and the Tigers come back and they score on them, and that's not supposed to happen. So it's a wild postseason.
Would you say that Yankee Stadium was a little bit flat yesterday?
Well, it's funny. I listened to the warm-up show. Al pointed out a headline.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, which was I believe, I'm not going to call it up. Just try to go by memory. Carlos Rodon sucks the life out of Yankee crowd.
That was the headline now?
Yes, the exact headline was Carlos Rodon sucks life out of crowd as Yankees let Royals back into ALDS with uninspired Game 2 loss.
Well, I mean, the last when was the last time a pitcher actually hit in a baseball game? You know what I'm saying? He's all right. He gave up a home run. He gave up some hits. He gave up essentially 4 earned runs were charged to him. I mean, I understand. The first 2 innings, he was money. He was money.
Yeah, I mean, but you're looking for more from that.
You were hoping. You're hoping for 6 innings. Is what you're
they
hoping
got to
for.
score. I mean, nobody really talked about how bad Garrett Cole was because they ended up winning the game and they kind of gave him a pass.
Right.
But Garrett Cole was bad in that game, but they scored more runs than the Royals did. And it's on the offense. This team is built to score runs. And that's what they're supposed to do, and they don't do it enough. And you're going to be playing good teams that also know how to manufacture runs. And Rodon is not a guy you expect to go out there and give you 8 innings, 2 hits, and no earned runs. He's going to give up a few runs. But you're supposed to be able to match that and better it with your own offense, and they can't do it.
You're thinking 6 innings, maybe 3 to 4 runs, and maybe your team scores 7 runs. I mean, that's what you're thinking. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be thought of. And I would just say I'm telling you, there was that nervous energy. You could say that he sucked the life out of the stadium. But, the offense is what ignites the stadium, as we saw down in Philadelphia. The Mets are winning 3-0, and next thing you know, bing, bang, boom, it's 3-3. And now the fans are back into it. Why? Because of offense.
Yep, absolutely. So that's been the story. I mean, and this is why it's just, we have these conversations during the regular season, and we say the same things over and over again, which is what it's really going to come down to is, can these guys hit in the postseason? I mean, how many times do we sit here when CBS Sports Network would put up a stat comparing Judge and Soto to Gehrig and Ruth or Mantle and DiMaggio and all this stuff and what they were doing, and then we'd say, that's all well and good, but
yes,
if they
exactly.
go quiet in the postseason like they do. Well, Soto's only been here for a year, but the Yankees themselves, like they always do offensively, then none of this means anything. And you could be tossing out DiMaggio and Mantle and Yogi Berra and Gehrig and Ruth all you want. Doesn't mean anything. Those guys won multiple championships. This group has not. And the Aaron Boone, Aaron Judge, Garrett Cole Yankees have been a massive disappointment. And this would be the worst one.
I mean, you see what Joel Sherman writes in today's Post, right? You see the headline.
Big money stars or something.
Yeah, running out of time to save season.
Well, it's that's a little much for that.
I know, but this is the point. This is where this is the world we're in now.
Yeah.
For the New York Yankees. This is October baseball. And quite frankly, you take a look at the American League side of things, how many people have said they got the easiest path, which is, it's ridiculous because it's baseball. And other teams have good pitchers like the Mets. I mean, the Yankees are going to see and Seth Lugo tomorrow. But I mean, let's face it. It's the Guardians, it's the Tigers, it's the Royals, and then it's the big money Yankees.
Yeah.
All 3 of those rosters do not add up in terms of salary to what the Yankees have paid out to their players, and that's why these headlines are so striking and so accurate and so consistent every single year when we get here.
Yeah, I mean, you can go back probably, they didn't make the playoffs last year, but previous to that, similar headlines, same stuff. Aaron Judge with his unbelievable regular season in 2022, nothing in the postseason, striking out 1 million times. I mean, his strikeouts in the postseason it is massive.
Alarming.
And if you look,
would you say alarming?
Yeah, of course, alarming.
Alarming.
Now let's see. There is a stat.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to bring you a stat.
Did you get a stat pack?
No, someone.
You got a stat. Somebody sent you a stat.
Someone sent me a stat.
Did you fact check the stat? I fact checked my stats.
Maybe I should wait then.
Should always fact check your stats.
All right, let's put it this way. Someone sent me this. I haven't fact checked it yet. Could this be true? Because it sounds unbelievable.
So now we're playing the game. Could this be true?
I'm going to look it up in a second.
All right.
I just remembered this because we were talking about strikeouts, and I was like, wait a second. All right. Strikeouts in playoffs more than any hitter in postseason history with 200 at-bats or more. He is struck out 35% of the time. So he has more strikeouts than any hitter in postseason history with 200 at-bats or more at a clip of 35%.
How am I going to fact check?
I don't know.
What do I got to do? I got to go to Pro Baseball Reference?
I'm just going to type in that whole thing into Google and see if it comes up.
And if it comes up, then that's going to make it true?
Judge.
What does Alexa say? Why don't you just ask Alexa?
200 postseason at-bats. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep.
All right.
Has the second highest strikeout rate.
See, not the highest.
In postseason history among batters with at least 200 plate appearances.
Who has the first?
I don't know if it says.
Why wouldn't it say?
Second to Martin Maldonado.
Okay.
Yeah. So after a Monday's 1 for 3 that included an eighth inning single, a walk and a strikeout, Judge has the second highest. It might have been the first prior to last night. The second highest strikeout rate in postseason history amongst batters with at least 200 plate appearances at 33.4%. So he might have been first going into the game.
Yes.
Because this was earlier.
See, but that's a solid fact check on your part right there. This is what I'm talking about.
I mean, that is a nutso number.
It is a nutso number,
For a guy who's as good as him. I mean, he's Dave Kingman. He's Adam Dunn in the postseason.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, you got to hope that he's swinging on strikes. That's really what it comes down to. You remember when Pete Alonso had a game in Milwaukee where he walked 3 times? Mm-hmm. And I was saying I give him a lot of credit. He didn't hit a home run. He walked 3 times, and he got on base. And getting on base meaning passing the baton down the order. And that's one of the reasons why they won that one game. And then, of course, the home run comes 2 games. I think it was 2 games later in Game 3, and they end up winning the series because he ended up, having the opportunity to make amends. And that moment right there kind of made us all forget about Pete's regular season, the inconsistent part of the regular season. And I think every single Met fan was jacked for Pete Alonso to do what he did because he won a game, and we all wanted him to win the game and to be able to win the game that way. And I kind of feel like, it's hard to feel sorry for guys that are making as much money as these guys are making. And that's one thing that Carlos Rodon said last night after the game. He goes, look, man, we get paid a lot of money. There are expectations, and I didn't live up to those expectations. I'm paraphrasing part of that, but he did talk about the money that these guys make and the intensity from the fans. So he kind of understood it. And if there are any jackass fans out there that are social media mavens and getting after his family for IVF or something, where his wife had to post something on social media about some of the stuff that they were receiving, is asinine. It's asinine. He's a baseball player. And you want to get on him about his performance, that's fine. But in this era of social media and people sit behind their keyboards and want to, get it off their chest when a guy does not have a good night, I mean, it's asinine.
Yeah, I mean, there's too much crossing on the line. It's never going to change, unfortunately, because people are horrible. It's going to get right. It's only going to get worse. People bring the personal lives into it. It's too much. It's terrible. Couldn't agree more. It's just sad that it even has to be addressed. But yeah, they still got opportunity ahead of them, and this could be one of those. I mean, one of those tipping points in the Brian Cashman, Aaron Boone era. Tipping point spot.
It's a tipping point spot.
It's a tipping point spot.
Hey, Al, can you do me a favor? Because I know you're good at stuff like this. Remember today, write down tipping point spot.
Got it.
And then let's refer back to the tipping point spot.
Could be.
No.
Could be a tipping point spot.
What do you mean?
I said if they lose, it's a tipping point spot.
No, but I'm just saying, like right now, it's 1-1, and they're going to Kansas City. So we are at the beginning of what you are referring to as a tipping point spot. Mm-hmm. So I want Al to write down tipping point spot, 6:16 this morning. It is October 8th. Mm-hmm. My dad's birthday.
Oh.
By the way. Mm-hmm. And I want you to remember this moment. You got it. He's got it on his little yellow pad.
Post-it note.
Perfect.
And then we can refer, but you're going to have to remind us to refer back to this tipping point spot.
Could be.
After the next 2 games.
Could be. Could
Well,
be.
not could be. It is.
No.
I mean, we are in the midst of a tipping point spot.
But they'd have to lose the series for it to be a tipping point.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, like this is the moment where now you gotta win one of these two games.
Well,
At least one of these two games.
yeah. I mean, absolutely. Because
I mean, if you come back
don't-
home,
if you don't-
it's you got Garrett Cole on the mound for game
if you
5.
don't win one of these two games, you're out.
Well, that would be the tipping spot.
Yeah, tipping point
I
spot.
mean, a tipping point spot. But we're on the cusp of it.
Certainly. And unfortunately, it's sooner than we wanted to see from a Yankees perspective.